very important fact that Illinoisans were very proud of was the fact that only 55 men from Illinois paid a $300 commutation fee. At this time, you could pay $300 to the government, and you didn't have to go into the Army. Somebody else would go and serve for you. As a matter of fact, Abraham Lincoln had done that. He paid his $300. A young man served in his place. Okay? Unfortunately for that young man, he was not killed. Okay? So Illinois was very proud of the fact that we were very patriotic and very willing to go and serve the Union cause. Approximately 2,000, slightly less than 2,000, Illinois blacks served in the Union Army. And the black regiment from Illinois was called the 29th U.S. Colored Infantry, and it was the first black unit from Illinois. Other blacks served in the Cavalry and especially in the Navy. Illinois blacks served in all 22 military districts across the nation during the Civil War. I broke this down a little bit, give you an idea. The infantry, which made up the largest number of troops in the Army at that time, Illinois provided the 7th through the 156th Regiment. You might ask, why did they start with 7? Well, during the Mexican War, Illinois had provided 6 regiments, the 1st through the 6th. And out of deference to those Mexican War veterans, when the war started, Illinois started numbering with 7 instead of with number 1. Okay? So the 7th Illinois. Now, if you're doing any kind of research in the Civil War, especially in Illinois, you can tell when a regiment joined the Army. For example, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Infantry all joined within that first 2 weeks. They have that low number. Okay, when you get to 156, those guys probably came in 1865, and they were most likely a 3-month regiment rather than a 3-year regiment. From here in Madison County, in the Alton area, we had 2 companies, Company A and Company H, of the 9th Illinois Infantry that served from our local area. Most of those guys were German. Alton, Belleville, Collinsville had a very high German ethnic population. As a matter of fact, the commanding officer of the 9th Illinois, a man by the name of Colonel August Mercy, had come to the United States in 1849 because of the revolutions in Germany, and settled in the Alton area, was a businessman. And he didn't speak very good English. As a result of that, and because there were so many Germans in the unit, all the commands were in German. Okay? They wore in their hat yellow and black cockade, representing Germany. And, excuse me. And as a result of that, most of the men, as I said, from Madison County, St. Clair County, were German. Now, the unit that I reenacted, and I did reenacting for 18 years, was the 9th Illinois. And when we reenacted, we still did all of our commands in German, so I had to learn German and German commands when we would reenact. The cavalry, Illinois provided 17 cavalry regiments. The 8th and 12th Illinois Cavalry were with the Army of the Potomac, and they had served as General McClellan's personal bodyguard. Why he needed 2,000 men for a bodyguard, I'm not for sure, but they had served as his personal bodyguard at the Battle of Antietam. And then at the Battle of Gettysburg, the 8th and 12th Cavalry, under the command of General Buford, also from here in Illinois, started the Battle of Gettysburg. They opened the shots with General Heth's men coming down the Cashtown Road. So they opened the Battle of Gettysburg. For a number of years, as these old gentlemen were still living, there was a great deal of argument between the 8th and 12th Illinois who had fired the first shot. You know, it was that very important to have that prestige of who had opened the Battle of Gettysburg. And there's 2 monuments at Gettysburg, one to the 8th and one to the 12th, and they both claim to have started the Battle of Gettysburg. Okay. You look down to artillery. Illinois provided 2 regiments of artillery. That doesn't sound like much, but each regiment of artillery was 10 batteries. Very seldom would a regiment or those 10 batteries be together. They would parcel them out. Okay, so Battery A might be with this unit, Battery B over here, Battery C over here. Okay, so we provided a total of 30 batteries of artillery. The Chicago Board of Trade was one of the more elite artillery units, as well as the 1st Illinois Light Artillery, which had an excellent reputation also. Illinois, men from Illinois referred to as suckers. Now there's a couple of explanations for that. One is there was a fish that apparently was kind of unique to Illinois called the sucker fish. And the other explanation is that Illinois guys were kind of suckers for things, okay, kind of like the Missourians called, you know, show me. But regardless of where that came from, Illinoisans were referred to as the sucker state, okay. Illinois suckers served in the western, mostly in the western theater, and as I pointed out, only 3 regiments, the 8th, 12th Cavalry, and the 82nd Infantry, had served in the Army of the Potomac. And the 82nd also saw action on that first day at Gettysburg, and it was called the German Regiment. You might, as you study, you might find out that there was a large number of Germans from Illinois, and the 82nd was comprised almost exclusively of Germans also. And they were at Gettysburg. They kind of got a bum rap if you study the first day of Gettysburg. And again, a great deal of controversy after the war was over that these men tried to clear their reputation, which had been a little bit tarnished because of some things that had happened later in the battle, which I'm not going to go into. Most of the soldiers from Illinois, though, served in the West, what was called the Army of the Tennessee. And many historians believe that the Army of the Tennessee was the best Union Army of the, say, 15 armies in the North, that the Army of the Tennessee was really the best, and I would not necessarily argue with that. Okay, on page 2, not all of Illinois supported the Union war effort. The 13 southern counties of Illinois had not voted for Lincoln in 1860, and as a matter of fact, when the election returns came in, many of those guys down there said, what is this? We didn't vote for Lincoln. Why? How did he get to be president? And there was talk of secession, those 13 southern counties seceding. President Lincoln did 2 things to keep that from happening. Actually, he did 3 things to keep that from happening. Number 1, he sent his friend, although he was a political opponent of his, Stephen Douglas. He sent Stephen Douglas down to southern Illinois. He says, I need you to go down there and talk to those people and try and keep them in the Union. And Douglas did. Okay, and those 13 counties did not secede. The second thing he did was he sent about 25,000 Union troops down to Cairo, Illinois, if you will, almost like an army of occupation. And they went down there, and again, the fact that there's 25,000 bluecoats in Cairo, Illinois, pretty much kept control in that area. The third thing he did is he took Democratic political leaders, such as John Logan from Murfreesboro, Illinois, and he made John Logan a colonel in the Union Army, and later on Logan became a general, and he became a very good general. So what he did was he took his political opponents, he brought them into the Army by giving them generalships, and you know, the idea that you're my enemy, I can keep a better eye on you if I know where you are, okay? So he brings those guys in and kept southern Illinois in the Union. But many of those guys then said, well, okay, you can come down here and occupy Cairo. They went across the border into Kentucky, and they joined a Kentucky unit. About 250 of them went down and joined a Kentucky unit and fought against the North during the war. As far as bases are concerned, for the first 2 years of the war, Cairo, Illinois was the second most important city in the North. Washington, D.C. out east, Cairo, Illinois here in the west. And it was through Cairo that all the supplies and troops was a forward base that they were sent down the Mississippi River to fight in those battles at Vicksburg and Island number 10 at, all the battles down in Mississippi, okay? So I'm slipping my mind right now.